podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome back into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
I'm Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
And we've made it to episode 3, Will.
Yes, sir.
Didn't think this would happen. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to run it like last episode. Last 24 hours, Will, how's your weekend been?
It's been good, mate. Lots of sport. Been able to stay busy. The Breakers season getting underway shortly. Blitz has just started up. First game just took place. We've got a live reaction here for us. What was your first initial thoughts on that game, Finn?
We might be in for another long season, potentially. Yeah.
Before that, though, I think we quickly just break down the other sports that have gone on over the past week. The All Blacks, unfortunately, suffering another 18 to 12 point loss in South Africa.
Did you stay up and watch it?
Yeah, I said it. Did you?
Sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly.
It was a rough one.
I'm on about 4.5 hours of sleep because of that.
You know, at least we lost this one like fair and square, I'd say, unlike the first game.
I agree. I think the Boks were probably the better team this morning. But, you know, it's not nice losing. That's the first time I don't know if you saw, the All Blacks, that's the first time they've lost 4 straight tests against South Africa since 1949.
Yeah.
So let's party like it's 1949.
It's looking rough for the All Blacks. Yeah, we've been going downhill ever since that 2015 World Cup, unfortunately. Hopefully we can turn it around, though.
I don't know. I'm like, it's kind of rough to say that we're looking rough because I think the Springboks are the best rugby team in the world.
Yeah, but then we had a loss to Argentina.
That was scary.
We lost a series to Ireland at home. It's not just the Springboks. You know, we've definitely not that old team. The team of old that won back-to-back World Cups, 2011, 2015. Yeah. But, you know, we could always get back to that point.
No tries. Crossed. No tries in the game for the All Blacks either.
Yeah, some bold calls there with just going for the kicks all the time, in my opinion.
Damien McKenzie could have won us the game just quietly, but he missed it off to the left. Not nice. Other sports, All Whites played an international friendly against Mexico in California, in Pasadena. Apparently this was one of the better All Whites teams that we've ever put out in the last, 3 or 4 years.
Didn't do much for us, though.
A 3-0 loss. I'm not going to pretend like I watched the game or anything, Will, but apparently we should have had high hopes and potentially, had a good game against Mexico, but I'm pretty sure, Pasadena being relatively close to the border, there would have been some Mexican fans there, and apparently it was 43 degrees.
Oh, that would be absolutely horrible.
I don't know
not the biggest football fans here, but we'll send you our best wishes. All the best for the future, guys.
NFL season underway as well, Will. Have you been watching that at all?
Yeah, so it kicked off a couple of days ago now with Kansas City Chiefs, two-time defending Super Bowl champs.
Like the Ravens,
starting their quest against the Ravens for their third straight chip.
I actually watched that game.
Yes, that was good to get the NFL season back underway. Another bunch of games coming up this weekend, so that'll be interesting to follow along to. And yeah, that's all for the world news that we've got for you this week.
Lovely.
Let's get into breaking down this Blitz game for you, shall we?
Yeah, so we stayed up. Well, I mean, we didn't stay up. This is literally a live reaction, basically. Stayed
up till 5:30 p.m.
Yeah. So yeah, basically a live reaction. So we record the podcast on a Sunday. And we thought we'd watch the game, record the pod, and get our live reaction. We might sound a bit sour for obvious reasons. So, they played the Perth Wildcats, a 108-102 loss to open up their campaign. Yeah, let's just say we should have had this one in the bag, Will.
Yeah, we won 3 quarters, lost the fourth quarter. How much did we lose that fourth quarter by?
41 to 22. Fourth quarter,
crazy. Just choked the lead.
Yeah,
gave it away.
We were leading by 15 points, I think, going into that fourth, and. For the first 3 quarters, I think me and Will I'd say we were quite happy with how we were playing, Will.
Very happy. We were up by 10-15 at one point in the game. And we seemed to be just holding that lead throughout the first 3 quarters. We were having our bright spots. Some players were not doing too well. But we were confident heading into that fourth quarter, and then it just fell apart. Bryce Cotton took over, as he does.
And so it's not really what you want to see. I mean, it's the first proper game, but look, that's not what you want to see as a fan. Terry Copenen's probably broken a few whiteboards after that one, I think, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. We had our usual bright spots. Parker Jackson Cartwright,
Obviously.
as he does. I can't remember the last time he had a bad game, if I'm being honest, Finn.
Yeah, that's a good point you've made. Yeah, I mean, last season he was unreal. So, I mean, it looks like he's going to be continuing his form.
Yeah, that 25 points per game form.
Well, I mean, he had 21 in the game today. And he didn't take a heck of a lot of shots. So, I mean, 14 shots, 57% from the field, 21 points.
Great game, as per.
It's going to be really sad when PJC has an absolute stinker and we're going to have to come on the podcast and you're going to be sitting here trying to defend him.
Let's just pray that never happens. I thought you were going to say it's going to be a stinker when he eventually leaves the Breakers, which is probably after this season, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I think his return would have stemmed from Modi hopefully staying and the fact that we probably would have made the finals if everyone was healthy. So he's back, and, well, first game. Let's not downplay this. Like, the Perth Wildcats are a good team.
Very good.
So Bryce Cotton and Keanu Pinder, obviously.
Keanu, he's crazy.
Yeah, so those two combined for 57 on the game. There was only one other player on the team that had 10 points. So it was basically, let's try to stop Bryce Cotton and Keanu Pinder. I think it is safe to say mission failed. We'll get him next time, Will.
Miserably.
It was funny because I think Bryce Cotton wasn't having the best game until I think that fourth quarter where he just absolutely took over. He wasn't shooting the greatest. Ended up shooting 50% from the field.
13 for 15 from the free throw line.
15 free throws, Will.
Yeah, crazy. But whilst we're watching it live, none of the calls really stood out as egregious fouls. So
he was getting fouled. I mean,
he was getting fouled.
That one in clutch time where he pulled up for three and Mooney kind of took his legs out. That one was debatable. Bit
4-point play.
Bit marginable. He didn't make the three. I think he just had 3 free throws. But I think he got an and one literally right before that, or an unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, that was rough.
Keanu Pinder, he only missed 2 shots and had 25 points. So
no one could guard him. Freddie Gillespie tried to switch on to him at one point. He just went right round him.
Yeah. Bolden tried his best at guarding Keanu Pinder.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, we're definitely going to get it. Freddie Gillespie, man. We'll get into you in a bit, I'm sure, Freddie.
But at least PJC had a running mate tonight. I think that's one good takeaway. Mitch McCarron. Really impressive.
Mitch McCarron.
Didn't miss a shot the entire game. Finished with 17 points on 100% from the field.
Yeah.
He's looking like, he was going to run that backup point guard position to PJC, but maybe in some lineups we could run him at the 2, having him and PJC demand the ball. So I thought that was a really bright spot from the game. I
agree.
Yeah.
That veteran presence definitely probably come in as well. 17 points. Doesn't miss from the field in this game, Will. Quite remarkable. And only 15 minutes of game as well. If he decides to continue this form, could we see Mitch McCarron in the starting lineup, and how soon?
Well, Matt Mooney, who's been rumoured to be that starting 2, he had quite the polar opposite of a game to Mitch McCarron. 3 for 12 from the field, so he struggled a lot. He just didn't look like he was fitting in to that NBL play style, if we're being honest.
0 for 6 from 3 as well.
Oof.
Yeah, a few air balls. That's not what you want to see from one of your imports who's had a decent stint in Europe and the NBA. Maybe it's a first game jitter. I mean, he did play. I'm not sure if this wasn't really documented much, but I saw a report that following that first Sydney Kings game, Will, on that Friday a couple weeks back, they played another preseason game against the Kings in behind closed doors, and Matt Mooney made that game after his wedding, and apparently he was the top scorer and looked quite good.
And we still lost by 40 points.
I think it was a similar scoreline to that first preseason game, but I think that the Kings probably might be one of the best teams in the NBL. So
hopefully this was just a rough outing for old Matt Mooney.
Yeah. So on the bright side, there was a lot of bright moments during the game. I mean, we won every single quarter apart from the woeful fourth. And I think there is definitely some positives to take away from a few players here.
You know what I think Matt Mooney needs, Finn?
What does he need?
He's newlywed, I believe. He missed a wedding. Missed a game for the wedding.
Yep.
We've seen it in the NBA. Players like Fred VanVleet stands out, I think. Or no, Derek White, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They have a kid. And then they just become unguardable. So Matt Mooney.
We need a mini Mooney.
We need a mini Mooney, and he's going to just take off this season. I'm calling it now. You heard it here first.
It's a real shame because if his wife isn't already pregnant, there's not that 9 months. I think the season's already got to be over.
Oh.
So look, Matt Mooney, 3 for 12. Let's hope it's a first game jitter. He's got potential to be really, really good in this league. Petteri Koponen potentially could be 0-2 on imports, which is quite a scary sight, I think is the right way to put it. Because Freddie Gillespie, I tried to back him up not long ago, I think on episode 1, but Freddie Gillespie, you're not injecting a lot of confidence into me and Will. Here are you, buddy? What do you think, Will?
He had a good block in that first quarter, and I know whilst we were watching it live, we were like, "There he is, defensive player of the year."
There's that decoy candidate.
But yeah, that was about all he did in the game, if we're being brutally honest. He just looked completely lost out there. He had 1 rebound in the whole game.
That's not what you want to see.
You do not want that from your center.
Not at all.
To be fair, though, the guy that I've been rooting for start at center, Sam Menenga. I believe he only had 1 rebound as well. Those boards were really cleaned up, to be fair to Jonah Bolden.
Yeah.
10 boards. He was only 1 point, but he was doing his role out there, grabbing the boards. I think he impressed in this outing. And another big that we have that was quite impressive was Anticevic. Did I say that right?
Yeah, we need to clear this up with all the lovely listeners and viewers of the Fast Break Pod. I'll put my hand up. Grant Anticevic, I wasn't familiar that you had a C in your last name, buddy. It's just please forgive me. Bit of a weird start. I wasn't expecting him to be in the starting lineup today, Will. So it was pretty similar to what we saw in the preseason. Obviously, Matt Mooney wasn't there against the Kings. So it was PJC at the 1, Matt Mooney at the 2, Kareem Lopez getting another nod to start at the 3. And I did not expect Grant Anticevic to be at that 4 spot, and then obviously Freddie Gillespie to round it out at the 5.
But he really impressed in the minutes that he played, I felt. Yeah, that jump shot of his is just money.
Butter. I think it is butter. For somebody that only played 17 minutes, when he was getting the ball, he shot 50% from the night. He was shooting threes. He made a couple threes, which looked great.
And he looked good defensively as well, I felt.
Yes, 100%. And he was putting the ball on the ground and getting to his mid-range as well, which I thought was really good to see. But I think he needs more minutes, to be honest, Will. Like, Jonah Bolden played 20, and I understand Jonah Bolden is there to be that big hustle guy and grab rebounds. I mean, he had 10 of them. If I'm not mistaken, I think 4 offensive boards as well, which is huge for those second chance points, which is massive in basketball. But if Grant Anticevic can light it up, I mean, we talked about him in the first couple of episodes. We saw him in the very first game. The jump shot was looking smooth, and it was looking smooth today as a few of those shots fell for him. So I think if he gets some more minutes...
Well, I think there could be some more minutes opening up for him potentially with Gillespie. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. I'm rooting for him. I hope he picks it up in one of these next few outings and during the Blitz, or maybe it's the start of the regular season that really wakes him up.
Let's hope so.
But yeah, if he can't figure it out, then there's going to be some big man minutes there for to be shared around with Bolden and Menenga and Anticevic. So I think he's in for a shot to be getting good game time this season, and I'd love to see it because he hasn't really stepped a foot wrong over these first 2 preseason games, Finn.
No, he hasn't. He's looked pretty good. And in terms of Freddie Gillespie, well, let's just hope he can turn it around, because it would be really unfortunate for him to either get... I mean, he's an import, so the release option is there, but we're not even at the regular season yet, so the chances of him being replaced before we even get to the first game of the regular season, I mean, it's not really going to happen. He's got 2 more games in the Blitz to hopefully impress us, Will. And, he wasn't horrible, but he wasn't great, and I really need to see more from him. There was a few times where we would, he'd feed him the ball in the post. Not sure why we're doing that. Just, if I'm honest, Will, he's not the guy you go to for a go-to shot. His bag is very minimal.
Yeah, I just want to see him in the pick and roll, to be honest. I don't want to see him having any ISO possessions, trying to get a bucket for the team. Leave that to PJC, Matt Mooney. I just want to see him setting good hard screens, rolling to the basket, getting some lobs, just playing his role, getting those boards, and defensively, just living up to the expectations that he's been put on him by some people this season.
I think the rebounding is definitely the one thing that stood out to me. I don't know how you're going to be our starting center and only pull down 1 rebound on the entire night. That is not something you want to see. I understand maybe the ball just didn't fall to him, which, I mean, that's always a possibility. But in 20 minutes of basketball, you'd think at the starting center spot, you'd pull down more than 1 rebound.
Well, it seemed as though Jonah Bolden just had magnets for hands in this game. So
and that's
maybe he was just grabbing them all. Well, he obviously was 10 boards. But yeah, we need to see more from Gillespie. Starting center definitely needs to be averaging at least 6-7 boards a game.
Definitely.
So that's an area for him to work on, along with not having silly fouls as well. I know there was one point at the end of the game there where he just spun Bryce Cotton around. It looked quite flagrant, if you might say.
It was unsportsmanlike. Yeah.
So he needs to just watch that. Watch his, that he not get too heated in those moments. Keeps his cool.
I just think he needs to adjust. I think he needs to adjust to a different league. I mean, when he was playing over in Europe, he wasn't even really averaging more than 10 minutes a game. So his lack of basketball, I mean, it's really showing now in 20 minutes of game time. I mean, 6 points, 1 rebound at your starting center point. Like, I don't want to write off Freddie Gillespie yet, but I mean, it's not positive because I feel like the Breakers with an import big, we've sort of struggled to find a really, really solid import big man. Obviously, Zylan Cheatham last year was a bit of an anomaly considering he wasn't really a center. And then the season before, Derek Pardon, who really impressed me. But other than them, no import big has really stood out to me in recent Breakers years. And it looks like Pateri Koponen might be breaking my heart once again, Will. And if Freddie Gillespie can't turn it around early on in the regular season, we might be seeing potentially an early release or a smaller role. Did Sam Meninga impress you today, though, Will? And are you doubling down on Sam Meninga to potentially take over that starting spot, or do you have something else in mind now?
I think he played well. He played better than Gillespie, put it that way. 2 games on, still early. I know I made that bold take after the first game. I still think, based on what we've seen from Gillespie in this game, that I think Meninga will have that starting role for the Breakers within 5 games of the regular season.
I still think it's going to happen.
I still think it's going to happen. He's just, in the minutes he has had, he's played far superior to Freddie Gillespie. He got a shot to fall tonight. He was 10 points, 3 for 4 from the field.
Couple threes?
2 for 3 from 3, so his shot was falling.
I mean, the one three was a bank at the very end of the game, but
a bank's still a shot. Still
2 nonetheless, and every point in the blitz matters.
He had less minutes tonight, though.
He did.
I'd like to see him. There was points during the game where he was actually playing on the floor with Gillespie, so that could be a potential lineup they might want to run with Sam at the 4 and Gillespie at the 5.
Is there an opportunity for Bolden to start at the 5? And maybe Sam Meninga slots into that 4 instead of Anticevic. Is that a genuine thing as well, or do we really need Anticevic to be on that floor for that shooting that we need? Obviously, Sam is a capable shooter. He's definitely proven it early on already. But is there a chance that maybe Sam and Bolden kind of fill in that 5 and 4 spot, and Gillespie and Anticevic come off the bench? That's something we could potentially see?
I guess it depends what route you want to take it. Like have the traditional 2 bigs grabbing the boards, or if you want that shooting presence, stretching the floor. I think Anticevic definitely needs to get extended game time because out of those 4 players, he's definitely got the smoothest jumper and definitely the best shooter out of those 4. So I guess it all just comes down to how Koponen wants to, play this team, what their game plan is going to be week in, week out. But it'll be interesting to follow along with. And he's also got another forward in the mix who had a really impressive outing, Max Darling.
Oh yeah,
special shout out to him. He really impressed me, Finn. He had good game time tonight.
Wasn't expecting him to play 20 minutes tonight, Will.
We were not. He was 2 for 3 from the field. Finished with 7 points. His free throws need a little bit of work. He missed 2 in a row at one point, but it was just good seeing him using that big frame of his, just driving to the basket, bodying smaller players. So keep an eye on him.
Yeah, there was a few times in the game where he would catch it in the corner, kind of get his guy in the air, and then take him to the hoop. Use his size, like you said, Will. For a younger guy that kind of only just slotted in as a development player last year, who's given a shot at an actual role in the team, if he proves that he's a genuine piece, that 12th man spot, for him to even provide anything positive, is huge.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one to watch out for. He's young, got potential, so just keep on working under those other bigs, trying to learn from them. You know, Gillespie, I still think he's a good guy to have as like a locker room presence for these younger players. People like Max Darling, Sam Menenga, they can learn a lot of things from a player like Freddie Gillespie, who's been everywhere in the world, played at the highest level in the NBA. So, yeah, just lots of area to work on for all these young players. But he was impressive, and it was good to see him get good minutes. So hopefully we keep giving the young guys some extended game time throughout the Blitz.
Yeah, and something that's also surprising me in talking about young guys, Kareem Lopez once again getting a nod at the starting small forward position. Only 18 minutes on the night. Look, I'm still not sold on him. Obviously, it's the second game. You know, he's in a completely new environment. He just looks really lost. I don't know if it's because he did have that extended time over in the States before coming and joining the team. But it's a big move from Copenhagen to start a 17-year-old on your professional team. And he's a boy amongst men, I think, at this point in time. And I hope he proves me wrong. Like, it's not like he's shooting bad. He got a really nice dunk today, and he looks excited to be on the court. But I think one thing that is really going to be an issue with Lopez, being a younger guy, is his defense.
Yeah, defensively, he definitely looked out of place tonight.
Yeah.
First of all, just shout out his offense, though. I think he played a lot better than the first game of the season. He got that 1-3 to roll.
Yep.
Lucky little bounce.
Yeah.
That was good to see, though. And as you said, the dunk. So I think offensively, he's taken steps from that first game. And if he can just keep on that projection, then I think offensively he can definitely be a good player for us. But as you said, defensively, he just looked out of place. He was getting kind of bodied around a bit by the bigger guys. But obviously he's 17 years old. He's got lots of time to, hit the gym, bulk up.
I think it's just an experience thing for him, eh? Obviously the NBL is a very physical league. I'm not sure what level of basketball Lopez was playing in Mexico. So for him to come over into the NBL being one of the more physical leagues as well, he probably is just adjusting still. But there was a few times where he would be the help guy and it would get swung over to his guy on the wing, and he'd be the guy closing out, and his effort just wasn't really there. I don't know if he was tired, he could have been gassed, but it's something that definitely needs to be worked on. And if you can't prove to be a good defender, then you can't really play basketball.
Yeah, definitely an area for him to work on. But let's just talk about Bryce Cotton for a second for Perth. Do you still have Xavier Cooks winning MVP this year, Finn, after that outing by Bryce Cook? Bryce
Cotton. Bryce Cookin, I think.
Bryce Cookin.
Bryce Cookin wouldn't be a bad nickname for him. I'm still going to double down on Xavier Cooks. I mean, I don't think the Sydney Kings have played a Blitz game yet, so we haven't seen Xavier Cooks in his full form. Playing probably 25 to 30 minutes in the Blitz. But Bryce Cotton as the current and reigning NBL MVP, he's back to his ways from last season, some could say, with a 32 bomb. He's quite good at basketball, I think, Will. Potentially one of the... he's probably going to be up there in top 3 again. I'm looking at the Perth roster, and they're not very deep, I've noticed as well. It's really Keanu Pinder, Bryce Cotton, and that's about it.
Yeah, definitely they've got areas to work on. They were trailing for 75% of the game against us, so...
And if it's not for Bryce Cotton scoring 32, imagine he only scores... he's not going to score 32 points every game.
No.
Like, if Bryce Cotton only averages 23 again, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So it's a bit of a crazy game from Bryce Cotton. Obviously, Keanu Pinder scored 25 as well. If we stopped either one of them from scoring more than 20 points, we basically go on to win this game because the depth of Perth wasn't really there. And I think that's why Bryce Cotton keeps standing out, Will, because with a roster that's not exactly deep, he takes a lot of shots, and that's probably why he gets into that, I don't know, that MVP candidate role. So a bit nervous, but
it was fun just watching him go back and forth with PJC at points during that game, though. Just, two elite players, arguably top 3 players in the league. I think, like you said, Bryce Cotton won MVP last year. Yep. PJC was it third or second? Third. So similar players, smaller guards. It was just fun to watch. And some other games from around the league. The Blitz, Melbourne United beat the Cairns Taipans 94-87. Another couple of Kiwis in there having some impressive outings. Rob Lowe in his return to basketball this season. He had a double-double, 12 points, 12 rebounds.
Love to see that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that sort of rebounding presence on the breakings, can't lie.
Hey, Freddie Gillespie, if you want some pointers, maybe go hit up the bro Rob Lowe.
Yeah, he's actually a local guy, Get him in contact with you. And,
he literally just lives down the road. I'm not going to disclose his address, but hey, I know. No, I'm not even going to say that. He's around here. He's a North Shore boy through and through. Freddie, if you need his number, I got you.
And Shea Illy, the other Kiwi,
of course.
yet again just having an impressive outing. 10 points, 4 for 7 from the field.
Lovely.
So Melbourne continuing that run of dominance like they had last year, right up until the final, unfortunately for them. So that was one game in the Blitz. Another game that we had for the Blitz was...
We had Brisbane and the Brisbane Bullets versus the Tassie Jack Jumpers. A pretty easy one here for Brizzy, 89-76. Tassie obviously losing Jack McVeigh. I think that's going to be a bit of an issue for them this year. Walter Brown actually started for the Jack Jumpers. He's a local Kiwi boy. He plays down in Canterbury, so that's cool to see. Ruben Tarangi obviously joining the Jack Jumpers this season as well. But they're not looking very, very good. I think Milton Doyle didn't actually suit up for this game as well, so one of their better players wasn't there, but that's not the greatest sign for Tassie, considering they won last season, but I think they might be in for a bit of a long one here.
Yeah, and the final game to break down from this Blitz was the Illawarra Hawks. Got a very high-scoring game. They got a win over the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who are my sneaky pick for possibly the champs this year.
Not a good start, Will. Not a good start.
112 to 93. So, impressive win there for the Illawarra Hawks. Derek Walton Jr. for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, 14 points. So you could say a slow start, but he's still looking like that guy on that team. I think he's definitely in for an impressive season. And as for the Illawarra Hawks, do you want to talk a bit about Aldrich?
One player that I'm really excited to see, and hopefully he'll probably show that he's ready to maybe make a jump to a better league next season. Is the young 20-year-old centre from the Hawks, Lockie Aldrich. Will, if you weren't aware, he was on the Canterbury Rams last season down here in the Sal's NBL, and they obviously went on to win the championship. And if I'm not mistaken, Lockie Aldrich won the league MVP and probably the Youth Player of the Year and Finals MVP. And in his first game for the Hawks in the Blitz, nothing less than expected. 17-point game, missed 2 shots. And caught a body bag, I think, to put it lightly as well, Will.
Yeah, so lots of impressive games and outings from new players on new teams during this Blitz. We've still got a few more games to go for the Blitz before the regular season gets underway. The New Zealand Breakers, we have a game against Sydney. That's going to be an interesting one
I'm not looking forward to
rematch from last week's game.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can, have some improvements.
Bit of a bounce back, I think.
Bounce back. So that'll be one to watch out for. That game, and who's the other team we're playing?
We also have Adelaide on Wednesday night.
So both of those games will be breaking down for you guys in the next episode.
Absolutely. I'm nervous about this Sydney game, Will. I really, really am, for obvious reasons. I mean, when you're playing them in the preseason, you're getting absolutely blown out. It's not what you want to see in a preseason game. So fingers crossed, the Breakers can hopefully maybe prove me wrong. And obviously the Adelaide 36ers will be on Wednesday night. So that's a definite winnable game here as well. Obviously Dejan Vasilovic on the team, who is an absolute sniper. So we're going to have to watch out for him. And of course, a few other players on the team as well. We're going to have to lock up not super familiar with the Adelaide side, but if anything I can take from the game today is that the Breakers still have potential to hopefully prove us wrong. You know, losing 3 games in a row to start the preseason, not the greatest thing to see in the world. However, Adelaide on Wednesday, hopefully they can, put in some work in the next couple of days, figure out what's going right and improve on that, and hopefully eliminate what's going wrong. Because obviously you can't be giving up 41 points in a fourth quarter. That is just not acceptable, as it will.
No, and it was a bit like the first game against Sydney as well, where we really struggled in that fourth quarter. We'd managed to claw our way back and have a little run there against them, and then they just took off again in the fourth quarter. So lots of areas to improve on. It'll be interesting to see what Koponen gets that down to, what went wrong in those fourth quarters. And the Sydney game was unfortunate, that first game. I thought maybe it's a lucky outing, but then after hearing about that game behind closed doors having a similar result, definitely
you thought
scary
maybe
times.
Something would have changed, but it was obviously a bit of the same. I don't like jumping around, obviously, but something I don't think we talked about, obviously with Matt Mooney coming back and Mojave King moving to the bench. Do you think that Mojave King could potentially play that sort of 6-man, maybe 7th-man role and run that bench unit with McCarron?
He's definitely looking like he could be that number 2 option, scoring-wise, behind PJC. So when PJC's on the bench, just have Mojave out there getting buckets. But I would still personally like to see him starting. I think we've rushed Kareem Lopez into that starting role a bit too early. So I'd like to see Mojave at the 3 with Mooney and PJC in the backcourt. But he had another impressive outing, and he's shown that he can be a good scoring option on all 3 levels.
So for this game on Wednesday, obviously against Adelaide, any changes that you would make to the starting lineup and potentially the minutes spread? Well, I'm very interested.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'd like to start Mojave King at the 3 with Mooney and PJC in the backcourt, just see how those 3 can work together. I know they've been playing Mojave at the 2. But I'd like to see Kareem Lopez just have a bit of that pressure taken off his shoulders, you could say. Just bring him off the bench. And as for the forwards, I'd like to see Menenga getting the start at center.
Wow. Cool.
With Anticevic starting at the 4, actually.
Okay.
Just play that stretch 4, see how that goes. A more modern type of basketball, you could say. Just with his shooting prowess. I think that'd be an interesting lineup to run out there, with players like Kareem and Freddie Gillespie coming off the bench, see if they can just have more of an impact coming on with limited minutes. What would you like to see in the next game, Finn?
I wouldn't change a lot. I feel like we're sort of in the same boat. I think I still want to see PJC at the 1, and I want to give Matt Mooney, obviously, another run at the 2. I feel like this is just a really off game for him. It's not like he's not getting to his spots. And 0 for 6 from 3, that's not something that's going to happen a lot. Like, this guy has so much experience. He's played in some of the best leagues in the world. Still want to see him at number 2. I'm going to be in the same as you. I want to bench Kareem Lopez just because I feel like he just needs more experience, more time. Yeah. So I'll chuck him into the bench, and I'll probably bring in Mojave King as well. I'm going to keep Anticevic in that 4 spot. I think I agree with you. We really need to stretch that floor just to open it up, the spaces for people like PJC to get inside, who has obviously proved that he can still finish at an elite level. And I think I will ship off Freddie Gillespie to the bench too. I don't think I'd start Sam Menenga though. I think I'd bring Jonah Bolden into that 5 spot. I'm a little bit undersized, but if you're grabbing 10 rebounds a game, that's exactly what you want to see from your starting center. He's not greedy, only 2 points a game, sets good screens, and a big hustle guy. And so I think that's how I'd want to see it run out. So PJC at the 1, Matt Mooney at the 2, Mojave King at that 3 spot, Anticevic at the 4, and then we'll round off with Bolden at the 5. And please, for the love of God, don't put 41 points on us in the fourth quarter, Adelaide. That's just not what I want to see. And if I've learned anything from being a Breakers fans over the years and some of the seasons where we've done really bad, that fourth quarter is quite scary for the Breakers, it seems. It's like they're always trying to run away from him, like in a horror film in the fourth quarter.
I was really hoping we might have seen one of those magical PJC game winners at the end of the game there, but it just got away from us too much.
It looked like it was going to pan out to be something along those lines. I mean, there was a chance where we were only down 3 points, and then I think Matt Mooney threw up a bit of a prayer.
We had some silly fouls there in the last minute of the game as well, sending them
we
to
threw
the
it
line.
Away. The IQ definitely lacked, but that's just with experience, Will, and I think over time with the boys playing together and hopefully building that chemistry and being on the same page, I think there's still a bright spot. And like, there's still bright spots in the team, and then I think there's still a chance for them to turn it around. Obviously, the season hasn't even started yet, but early on, the signs are a little bit negative as a fan. And, early on, first episode, you said the Breakers are going to win it all. Will, I'm going to ask you every single time we play a game and we have a bad performance, are you still doubling down?
Yeah, I've gone away. I've done some thinking, Finn, and 2 rough outings in a row.
Three
rough outings in a row. The one behind closed doors. But I'm doubling down again.
It's almost like he's tripling down at this point.
Tripling down, whatever you want to call it. I think we're going to bounce back. We showed flashes throughout most of that game that we were the better team. We just fell apart in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, good point.
If we can figure that out, which I definitely have faith in Copenhagen, he's going to figure that one out for us. I think there's no reason why we can't compete with the top teams. Perth has consistently been one of the best teams in the league.
That's true.
But yeah, the Sydney Kings, they do look scary, beating us by 40 points in 2 games in a row. I think this third game against them in the Blitz will be a real telling point
It'll be a test.
How the season is going to go, and we'll have to check back in with me after that game.
I'm hoping a big win against Adelaide, and then somehow a massive turnaround win against Sydney. We come on here on Sunday, and the vibes are high, and they finish a decent place in the Blitz, then that will inject some confidence into me, and then you can prove me wrong and tell me to shut up. But, Will, if we come to Sunday and we've lost every game in the Blitz, I'm a bit nervous, and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel going into the start of the regular season, but I hope you prove me wrong. And like I always say, Will, I love your optimism. I really, really do.
Someone's got to be optimistic.
Someone. I'm going to be the realist, you can be the optimist, and I'm scared for the season. It doesn't look like we're really clicking yet, but we still have time. It's a long season ahead. And
it's going to be exciting, and these next 2 games in the Blitz, it's definitely going to be telling for how the season's going to play out. And I can only be too optimistic. So if we do lose these next 2 games and get blown out by Sydney again, then we might have to be retracting some of our previous statements.
I think you might be right. I'm just honestly happy that basketball's back, though, in all honesty. I feel like we've been kind of starved of it for the last few months. So now that the Breakers are starting up again and the NBA still kind of close around the corner. I mean, October 22nd. I've got an advent calendar like it's Christmas in my room, basically telling me how close the season is. So that's really exciting as well. But 2 more games in the Blitz for the Breakers, Wednesday and Friday night. Hopefully we can come on here on Sunday with big smiles on our faces and hopefully not more of a negative show, because, I mean, this has been a bit of a negative podcast highlighting how we choked a 15-point lead against the Perth Wildcats in our first game. So hopefully they can turn it around. And I think they can, and I think there's a definite chance they can, Will.
We just all have to manifest it, that they're going to turn it around, and they will. So, yeah, but as for the NBA, as you mentioned before, there was actually just news that Jamal Murray signed a 4-year, $208 million max extension.
So, bag.
What do you think of that? Do you think he deserves it? He's never actually been named as an all-star, which is a debatable topic. I personally think he should have deserved it at least once, being on the best team in the West for the last few years. But what do you think of that new deal of his, Finn?
I don't know if it's hard to say. Somebody that's never made an all-star team receiving a max deal is kind of crazy, but at the end of the day, he's in the West, and some of the best guards in the NBA are in the West, so it's not surprising that he hasn't been there. I mean, CJ McCollum's never made an all-star team as well, and he's always impressed me in the league. 208 mil. How do they have this much money? It blows my mind how much money is in sports in America. Let me see some of that. I really wish I tried to become an NBA player. Not that I would have even got close, but man, $208 million over 4 years seems pretty damn nice.
Well, you might have Jamal Murray and Steph Curry on board now, Finn.
Yeah, I've recruited both of them to hopefully invest in the podcast. So if you're listening, boys, if you're listening, my DMs are open.
We'll happily take one of that $208 million off you guys.
They don't need it. They don't need it.
But yeah, NBA season's close. I know it's over a month away, but that's close for us fans. So we'll definitely be breaking down those games for you guys when the season gets underway.
Yeah.
But that's about all the basketball news that we've got for you guys today. Yeah, rough week for the Breakers. More to come.
Absolutely.
2 more games. But we thought we'd finish this podcast with a little fun segment.
Bit of spice on your Monday afternoon.
Avengers character player draft. So we're going to draft
A starting
5 Marvel characters to play the point guard through to the center. And just you guys let us know down below in the comments
And the poll
whose
on
team
Spotify.
you think is better. So if you want to... Who gets the first pick,
We'll
Finn?
do a paper scissors rock.
Paper, scissors,
Yeah,
rock.
we're gonna do a long one.
Live?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alright, here we go. Paper, scissors, rock. Oh my god.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Oh.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Alright, I start.
Finn gets the
Here we
first
go.
pick.
Controversial pick here. We're going straight to my power forward spot.
Oh.
I'm taking Thanos.
Thanos.
At my 4 spot.
Thanos at the 4.
And this is Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones as well.
Oh. Okay. I see
We'll
the
throw it over to
way
you.
I see the way you're going with it.
Who's guarding him? Tell me.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to start off with a 4. We're actually going to start off with our shooting guard.
Oh yeah.
With a guy that does not miss. Absolutely just got a, some would say, Hawkeye.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Hawkeye at the 2.
Yeah.
Just cannot miss a shot. So back to you, Finn.
This is a bit of a weird pick for me. We're going to point guard, and I'm going to get somebody that can become so small that he's not going to be able to get guarded. I'm going with Ant-Man at my 1 spot.
Oh, you got me there, Finn. I was actually gonna play him as a giant man at the 5. But
You know what? How about this?
unfortunate.
Ant-Man can play at my 1, but is he allowed to change his height during the game? Is that allowed?
why not? Why not?
Sweet. So he can play as a 6'11" point guard if he wants, and then maybe we want to make him smaller and he can become like a PJC guard at one point. So Ant-Man at my 1 spot. That's a tough spot. That's a really, really good pick in my opinion.
Well, I gotta match you someone who's as strong as Thanos. at
Oh,
the
here
4.
we go.
A big green man.
Yeah.
We're gonna play the Hulk at our 4.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can keep up with Thanos.
Mm.
Who have you got next, Finn?
So we're gonna go somebody who's potentially one of the strongest and most powerful people in the MCU. I'm gonna play Thor at my 5.
Thor at the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe undersized, but he's got lightning hands and a hammer. So we're playing him at the 5, and if you can stop Thor, then good, then fair play to you.
All right. I'm gonna go with my 1 to lock up Ant-Man. Someone with really good senses. Just has a sense for where the ball's gonna be, and a really good handle with a grippy hands. So
Okay.
we're gonna go with yours truly, Spider-Man, at the 1.
Fair. Is he a lockup as well? Is he a really good defender?
I think so.
I think as well.
I've-
Yeah,
I've heard-
he
I've
could be
heard
like
rumors.
Kawhi, like claw with the Spidey senses.
Yeah, just grab the ball with one hand. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
So,
This might be a controversial one. Thought I'd switch it up. We're gonna play Groot at the 3.
Groot at the 3.
Yeah, I am Groot at the
Right.
3.
Reasoning behind that one?
No reasoning, just vibes.
Do you have the baby Groot or the
No, the older
normal-
one and the newest ones.
Okay.
Just vibes. Locker room guy.
Vibes.
I am Groot.
Fair.
Thought I'd just include him. Bit of fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you want someone good locker room presence, as you said. That really just gets the team together. A leadership role like LeBron James, an old head. We're gonna go with Captain America to just hold the team together.
Not even surprised.
You need a captain on the team to lead your players into battle. So yeah, that's he's gonna play at the 3 for me.
Okay.
Who do you have at your 2, Finn?
I'm just gonna go plain and simple here. Iron Man at the 2 spot.
Iron
Why
Man at the
not?
2.
Early on days as well, not when he's dead. Shout out Iron Man, Mr. Stark. You will be my my shooting guard.
Fair.
One more
So
spot.
I need a
Will.
5.
You need a 5.
I'm struggling to think of who I could play at the 5 here, Finn. Wow. You know what? Give me Black Panther.
At
You
the
know,
5.
I'm lost. I can't think of anyone to play at the 5
know,
then.
I'll-
But I
you
want to
know
give
what
a
I'll-
special shout out to Black Panther. You
Yeah,
know,
fair.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
You know what I'll let you do if you really want. If you want to move Hulk to your 5 and play Black Panther at the 4, I can let that happen.
No,
No?
you're trying to diminish my team here. Finn.
Okay,
You know what?
I mean, he's guarding
think,
4, so I mean the height difference won't be that bad.
yeah, Black Panther with his Wakanda bloody armor.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be tough to body in the paint. So I'm
Fair.
confident with that pick. Black Panther at my 5. And,
That rounds it out.
So yeah, guys, let us know.
I'm going to go through my team first, and then we'd love for you to check the poll and vote whose team is gonna win. Let's go a game to 21, 1s and 2s, half court. Actually, full court. Because I feel like that would make more sense with people like Iron Man who have like super speed. Well, not super speed, but rockets and stuff. So at the 1, I've got Ant-Man, Iron Man at the 2, Groot at the 3, just for vibes, Thanos at the 4 with the gauntlet, and Thor at the 5.
And to combat that, we've got Spider-Man at the 1, Hawkeye at the 2.
Hawkeye at the 2 is crazy.
It doesn't miss, bro.
No.
Does not miss.
I might be in trouble there.
Captain America at the 3,
Yeah.
just to hold the team together.
Yeah.
Hulk at the 4, and Black Panther at the 5. So yeah,
That's a good team. I might be in trouble here. Groot at the 3 might have.
that was a weird pick, Finn.
Just for vibes, bro.
vibes.
Just for
Fair.
vibes. But yeah, that's our Avengers Marvel MCU starting 5s round out. I think we're gonna do more things like this in the future as well, and maybe like go through top 10s and fun drafts like that in the future too.
Yeah, that was a fun little segment to end off the pod, guys. Thanks again for tuning in to episode 3, and stay tuned for episode 4, where we'll be breaking down the next 2 Breakers Blitz games.
Fingers crossed they do well, man. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's all for us. See you later.